the Snow White had its LA premiere, and it was wild. It was wild. It was on Saturday.
Premiere.
Here we go. Inside Disney's Snow White premiere with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Emphasis on the Gadot. Do we have notes for these, or are we just going to read it? Let's read it.
I can read it.
Okay, read it.
Disney's Snow White had a toned-down Hollywood premiere with fewer photographers and only Disney-employed interviewers on the red carpet. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot smiled for a smaller-than-usual crowd at the El Capitan Theater. The pre-party held behind the venue featured kid-friendly activities like nail painting and flower bouquet making and apple-themed drinks, an homage to Snow White's iconic poison apple. Meanwhile, Zegler and Gadot have been on a whirlwind promo tour, from presenting at the Oscars to international stops in Tokyo and Spain, while Gadot hit the New York City talk show circuit. With the movie hitting theaters on March 21st, Disney is hoping the magic will translate to box office success.
Well, the person I want to know, that I want to hear opinion on this, is Steph from My Nerdy Home, joining us late. Thank you, Steph.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
No, don't worry about it. So what this premiere is, and I haven't been to one of those big Disney premieres. I've gone to a few during award season, but this one was very muted. It was very controlled. Rachel Zegler did do interviews with people who are from Disney, and even the invite list was very, very small from people outside of the organization. We're going to get to the early reactions, but what are your thoughts on this?
Well, they're definitely trying to make sure that the red carpet went off without like any drama whatsoever. I was looking into a lot of the people that were invited to the event. A lot of them were influencers. A lot of them were Disney specific influencers. Some of them I actually follow on Instagram. So those were like the types of people that were invited to this red carpet. And it's their first time like meeting Rachel Zegler. Like I think that she posted a video of her meeting one of the influencers, and she's just like, I recognize you in your costumes, because he puts on like Disney costumes all the time. Like he's a Disney specific influencer, and a lot of them were. So those are the types of people that came to the event. I watched a couple of interviews because they didn't really give very many, but you can tell watching them back to back to back, everybody had like specific talking points, things that they had to touch on, but in different ways, like spin it in their own way. I did notice that like when Rachel Zegler was sort of like, giving her interview, she would kind of like look up as if she's trying to recall what she's supposed to say. So
the note she got.
And what she's supposed to say. But it was very muted, very toned down. And it was interesting looking at like, Variety's Twitter page. And it was just like literally just video of the event, no interviews, no nothing. All of these media outlets, it was just video, right? Like that's it. So-and-so has arrived on the red carpet. It's so strange seeing that. And I'm wondering if this is going to be like, the start of something new in Hollywood, so that way like their movies don't get derailed by problematic actors in the future.
Right.
And if this is going to be a deal between like actors studios and like interviewers, right? Like, hey, these are specific talking questions. You can't really ask anything controversial to our actors. It's so funny. There was actually one by TMZ. There was a video from TMZ of Rachel Zegler landing in LA, and it was somebody waiting at the airport, and he asked her specifically about like, I believe it was like the controversy or whatever surrounding Snow White, and she just completely ignored it. And was like racing to the car, just completely ignored the question. And was just racing to the car. So they're really like not trying to have any drama. I think they wanted to just get this movie out so they can focus on Lilo and Stitch. Honestly.
Well, I think that she probably got advice from Karen Bass, ignoring the media there.
No one got to ask if it was the
LA's
gayest
there.
Snow White
and the audience in this
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can tell you
okay.
that this is pretty on par with what Disney has been doing with the premieres for the last several films, where they just invite the influencers to promote the film on their channels and to bring in critics who are prone to be positive toward Disney films. But this is, I think, the first time that the press tour leading up to it was treated the exact same way, where there is barely a press tour, where the questions are manicured, closely. And curated closely, and this is, I get the feeling this may be Disney's modus operandi for the
Moving forward.
future.
Yeah, even Gal Gadot's answers to every single outlet that she visited for her interviews, it was very scripted. Like everything was very scripted.
If you look at Gal Gadot's career, I think she's great as Wonder Woman, and she even went to San Diego Comic-Con and did a signing with Ben Affleck, among others. And there's some great footage of her interacting with a young girl who was so pleased to meet her. She has been a total pro. I don't like that Imagine video she did. I thought that was kind of lame, but in general, she's a pro. She's an adult. Rachel Zegler is an entitled child, in my opinion.
She's young.
I agree.
No. We cannot use young, man. You know, back in the day, Rob, especially back in Hollywood, like in the 90s and early 2000s, 80s, whatever, you could not act a fool like this and still have a job.
No, I agree with you there, but we live in our social media world now, and young people are full of piss and vinegar. They think they can do and say whatever they want. That they know.
Yeah, and you know what? They have to be spanked, right? Like, here's the thing. I'm sorry.
Dante wasn't spanked. Rachel Zegler, you heard it. Hurt her, Dante.
When you're costing the studio, when you're costing them their opening, when you're costing them their movie, you got to pay for that.
I think she is. I think she's paying for
it
because she's about to disappear to Broadway for a few years. I don't think she's not gonna be a Hollywood staple for quite a while. Her name is Mud. Nobody went to watch her Y2K movie. It's like, I don't think this chick's got a long career ahead of her, at least until she cleans up her image. She's got to do a lot of image rehab right now, because you played Snow White, which in my opinion is one of the most important Disney princesses, if not the most important Disney princess, the one that started it all. And you just had to be a kind, polite person out there everywhere you go on social media. You just had to just play the part of a princess. Like I always said, Halle Bailey, regardless of how you feel about Halle Bailey being the Little Mermaid, she was a princess the entire way through that entire run. She was a sweetheart. That's all Rachel Zegler had to do. But you can see through her social media, she's just that person. She is that kind of chick. She's like, she's hateful, and people don't want that in their actors and their actresses headlining movies. They just don't want it. And so she's going to have to disappear, in my opinion. Go to Broadway, sing. They'll love her over there. They'll embrace her. The Broadway culture, they'll love her. But in Hollywood, when you're in front of fans and people that are going to popular media, that's not happening.
Look, the best case scenario for this girl, if I'm being completely honest, is she has to disappear for a little while. Go do Broadway, do all this other stuff. At best, if she ever comes back to Hollywood, the best she's going to get is supporting roles. That's it. She's going to be the best friend of the lead actress. Like that's the best she can hope for.
Unless this movie does Mustafa numbers.
Yeah.
Which is very well kept.
We'll see about that.
Even with that, studios have to ask themselves, is she worth the
is it worth it?
Well, if she changes, right? I mean, she could change. There's a possibility.
I don't know. Well, I mean, speaking about age, like Halle Bailey is a year older than Rachel Zegler. There's not that big of an age difference between them. But I have noticed that with some of the interviews and some of the presentations that Rachel Zegler has been giving, they have been kind of focusing in on her age and how she was young when she took the role, and saying like, I was 19 when I took the role, kind of like focusing in on like, all that stuff that I said, like I was young when I took the role and I'm 23 now. So she's like, I've grown so much since then. So they have kind of been, trying to say
when
like,
she said, I hope Trump supporter never knows peace. What was that? That was in November. I mean, how much has she grown from November? Because she's still talking that talk. All right. Like she's still that chick. That's why I said she ain't changed. All right, she's still
Yeah.
talking that talk. So she got to go away. She got to learn her lesson. She'll disappear for a few years, and then she'll probably come back, get a new PR manager who will clean all of this stuff up and teach her some manners. And then by the time she gets back, she'll probably be all right. She will start off with smaller roles, but we've seen this in Hollywood. This isn't new.
I'm sure she had a very uncomfortable conversation with her agent at some point. And that's even if she still has an agent. Who knows? I mean, at this point, agencies are dropping people left and right these days in Hollywood. So,
well, generally, Rachel Zegler would never hear anything directly from the studio. All of the communication would go through her representation, who would feed it to her like a child. But
her agent is getting beat up by the studios.
Exactly. I guarantee her representation is getting an earful. And take a look at some of these. To be fair, AI generated Snow White trailers.
Oh, disavow.
Yeah, they're kind of entertaining, and they kind of like this. It gives you an idea of the direction they could have gone with the movie. I mean, let's take a look. They're short. They're kind of fun. So check this out.
In a kingdom, the opposite of Zegler. She's short but not fun.
Enchanting tale like no other meets Snow White, the fairest in the land, whose kind heart and radiant beauty capture the hearts of all. But beware, the wicked queen, consumed by jealousy and vanity, will stop at nothing to be the fairest of them all. Escaping the queen's sinister plot, Snow White finds refuge in a quaint forest cottage, where 7 lovable dwarfs become her unlikely protectors and friends. But the queen's evil knows no bounds, and a poisoned apple casts Snow White into a death-like slumber. All hope seems lost until a courageous prince, drawn by tales of her beauty and kindness, arrives. With a true love's kiss, the spell is broken, awakening Snow White to a future filled with love and happiness. Experience the timeless magic of Walt Disney's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, a story of adventure, friendship, and the enduring power of true love. Now in dazzling Technicolor. Snow White.
Weird.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Don't miss it.
No.
Wow, it looks like a way better
Chris,
trailer
you're
than
muted.
what Disney's putting out right now.
Chris, you're muted.
Yep.
Chris, you're muted.
Why did the dwarves look better?
Yeah.
Right.
The dwarves look better. They look like actually the animatronics at Disneyland.
Yeah, I was just thinking
they have that feel. I also like the little Eyes Wide Shut mask that was
terrifying.
like stuck in there.
I hope the movie ends like the Disneyland ride.
Yeah, it's so weird the way the ride ends. Here's another one. It's the dark version.
In the distant past, there was a kingdom hidden deep within an ancient forest. Within its shattered halls lived a young princess. Her skin as pale as snow. Her eyes a piercing crimson red like blood. Gazing into them felt as if they could pierce through the very soul. A queen who gave birth to the princess passed away.
Hello.
Queen ascended the throne.
Is this the vivid version?
Yeah.
Axel Braun directed.
Yeah.
Long after seizing power,
Axel Braun.
she used dark sorcery to murder the king and claim the kingdom as her own. For Snow White, she had intended to use the same dark magic, but to her surprise, the spell had no effect on her. Gazing into those blood-red eyes, an inexplicable fear rose in the queen's heart. She commanded the hunter to take Snow White into the forest and end her life. But the hunter, unable to carry out the deed, leads Snow White deep into the woods, leaving her to perish on her own. In the heart of the dark forest, Snow White discovered 7 statues. As her fingers gently brushed against one, the forest was instantly engulfed in a thick black mist.
Mira, who is the most powerful in the world?
Dark sorcery angle's kind of cool.
Once it was you. Now it is Snow White.
I have no idea where this is going. I haven't
shouldn't
seen
have done
it.
that.
Oh my god!
Yeah. What's happening?
Oh,
We went.
Oh, those are the
Oh.
dwarves. The 7 deadly dwarves.
Oh gosh.
What
This
is
went off the
this?
rails quick.
Servants, awakened by the bloodline, returned
I mean,
to the
this is
kingdom
an
of
update.
Combat vibes.
Snow White.
Here for a taste?
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm here for a
I'm
taste.
in.
I would watch
Oh
that.
man, look, whatever. It just looking at that looks actually infinitely better than what we're about to see. I mean, yes, it's AI garbage, whatever. Like, I don't know. I see some of this stuff as a trailer. I've seen some like Alien in 1950s Panavision. I kind of like the look. It's very experimental. Any thoughts from you guys?
Well, I mean, look, by all accounts, people have liked the movie. I mean, it is getting good notices.
We'll get
Oh,
to that.
about Snow White. He wants your thoughts about AI garbage trailer.
Yeah. How about the dark version, Rob?
I mean, but look, to me, the you can do anything with panning in or panning across images, but that's not a story make.
Make that a video game, though. That was good. The magic and having the magic dark twist and whatever. And
I mean,
Snow White
I
has
would
to be
love
a
that
dark
the
sorcerer.
H.P. Lovecraft Snow White.
There you go.